Hey guys, welcome back to the
Hello.
first live stream of 2019. Hopefully we're live, I think. The 20-second delay is just, it's weird to get used to. But today we're going to be talking about how to make better videos. So this is sort of a general tips and tricks sort of thing that we have put together. It's going to seem obvious for veteran filmmakers, but if you don't know where to start in terms of filmmaking, this is how to do it.
So we've got a couple of people messaging us now. World of Confusion, hello. I hope you're also having a splendid day. Thank you very much. We did have somebody before Man of Action saying hello from Ohio, which is very cool. Chauvet used to be from Ohio.
I did. I lived in Ohio for 4 or 5 years. I was in Mason, which is near Cincinnati. And I went to the University of Cincinnati.
But then we took him.
They did.
For us.
Yeah.
Just happy to be here, so are we. We'll probably wait like 5 minutes or so just to wait for everybody coming in before we start chatting about everything.
Yeah. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions that you'd like to tell us about to get started? Because we're kind of waiting for everyone to filter in, you know, get started and everything.
Are you going to ask, what was your New Year's resolution? Let's start with that.
Well, I could ask that, but I don't have any for myself. So I could ask, you know, Kirsty, did you have any? Did you have any?
I'm terrible. I didn't have any New Year's resolutions either.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to ask it, because it's like, what do you think? And then they ask me, and I'm like, I don't know.
Michael Rodriguez says Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you. I did kind of have a New Year's resolution in that I'm going on a trip in a bit, and my New Year's resolution was to try not to die. But I won't know whether or not I'll achieve that until I come back, so we'll see. Yamikani Katunga says hey from South Africa. Hello. People coming in from all over the place. That's amazing. Right, any...
Clever tagline, make more stuff. It's a good idea.
We hadn't thought of that. Oh, no. No, we're going to be doing that as much as we can. Yeah, so does anyone have any New Year's resolutions? As we've already established, me and Javed don't. But I imagine some of you have been more organised than we have.
Would it be possible to start with upcoming updates first? That's on the queue.
See, you're messing with our schedule now, but maybe. Kat's forgot to make a resolution. I think you're, in with everybody else here. New Year's resolution, to use HitFilm every day to produce either tutorials on... Oh, to produce tutorials on writing code. Ooh, that's cool. I was not paid to say that. We'll slide you the money afterwards.
They started a hashtag, make more stuff. That's Clever's tagline as well. Resolution.
We've got a whole bunch of new ideas for YouTube, actually. We've just kind of been looking at our channel and working out how we can make it better, how we can produce more stuff for everybody in an efficient way, obviously, so that we're not spending all of our time doing YouTube. But we've got some really cool ideas. So we should be doing some extra cool content in the next couple of months, which I know we always say, but we promise.
It's not like we've lied in the past.
No, we've done some really cool stuff. Hi from Indiana, Monk Collins.
Germany, France, all over.
So shall we maybe go into the updates then, as was requested?
Yeah, you're the marketing manager, so I will let you lead so that I don't pull a Josh
and
reveal
goodness.
too much.
Well, where have we got our... Where's the... Yeah, so you're too afraid to say it, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, we have some really exciting updates coming up. We wanted to make sure that you had them available to you when we also have a promotion going on, so that it is cheaper, more accessible for you to get to these updates. So within the next week or so, I'm not going to give you an exact date because I'm going to leave some mystery in there, but we are going to have an amazing update to all of our pro software. Every single pro software is going to have something new added to it. Just put my mobile on the floor. So, which ones do you guys want to know about? Let's throw it back. Clever tagline, lol, pull a Josh. We do have to be careful.
Josh would have loved to be here today, but he's in a meeting.
Yeah, very long, very important meeting. So, okay, let's talk about HitFilm Pro first then, because I know that everybody is the most interested in HitFilm Pro, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the actual things that are included?
Sure. So a lot of performance updates. However, I think one of the most requested features was text in the editor. So you can now, well, not now, eventually in a week, you'll be able to create text layers in the editor without an effect, without going into a comp shot. You just click in the viewer, type, and a layer will appear in the timeline.
Which is super cool.
Which has been requested for literally years. So yeah, we're bringing that to HitFilm, both Pro and Express.
We had a really cool staff breakfast this morning. This is something that we do every 2 months or so, where the whole company comes together and we all talk about really cool stuff that you guys have said, really cool stuff we're doing in-house. And we got to see the next update for HitFilm being shown on the screens in here. And pretty much the thing that excited me the most is the speed performance improvements. It's insane. So we are going to be including threaded rendering. We're going to be including
hardware decoding for NVIDIA and Intel GPUs.
There's going to be animation caches and a whole bunch of other stuff, which essentially means that when you're creating something in HitFilm, it is going to be a hell of a lot faster. So that's what we're really excited about.
Yes. Other than that, color labels. So both in the composite shot and on the editor, you can change the color of layers. You can select all the layers of the same color. You can set default colors for a grade layer, for a light layer, solid, whatever it is. So you'll be able to split things up and make things easier to see.
It's worth saying that for the majority of updates, we don't like to give a huge amount in advance. We do want to be transparent and to let you guys know exactly what's coming up. But obviously, we have development going on at any one time. Things could drop, things could change. But these are the things that have been being worked on for a while, and so we know they're going to be included. So we feel happy sharing that with you.
Yes.
We've got a couple of questions coming through, which probably...
Yes.
Lots of confusion. You've been making a video per day for 231 days. That's amazing. What kind of videos? Are they vlogs or are they... I'm going to have to watch out for your answer now.
Yeah, no, you...
Amidst everything else.
Will there be a way to do grade layers in the timeline? Not yet, but we know that's a highly requested effect or feature in HitFilm.
Another piece of software that we do that's really popular with everyone is Emerge Pro, which is obviously our the world's first raw image compositor. We have got some amazing things going in there. Ricky is our product lead on that, and he's got a mind like no other. Got a bit of a mind crush on Ricky. He's a bit of a genius. But yeah, he's including some really, really cool things along with his team into Emerge Pro, such as highlight recovery. So for example, if you are putting together an image and it's looking a bit blown out, then you have all of those capabilities of having a raw photo and bringing back the highlights and the clouds and things, which is really difficult to do. Even impossible to do if you're working with a JPEG or a PNG, because that data just doesn't exist.
You'll see it in the video that'll go up, not next Thursday, but a bit after that. I demonstrate the highlight recovery, and it's literally a pure white sky, and you bring the exposure down, and all those cloud textures come back, and it's like magic.
It's like magic. Maybe we should use that as our new subheading for everything. All of our pro software, it's like magic. What else have we got?
I like the insert menu. So if you've ever used FX Console for After Effects from Video Copilot, you know how you do a shortcut and it brings up a menu, and then you can type the effect or whatever, and it'll add it without actually moving your mouse. We've added that to Emerge. So that'll be in there. Quickly add in multiple types of effects, multiple types of layers, all on the keyboard, which is really fast.
And the really important thing to remember while we're telling you about all of these updates is that we're bringing it out at a point whereby you can get 25% off the new version of the software. We've got our January sale running at the moment. It's going to be going until the 31st of January. And yeah, you get 25% off all of our software store-wide. So make sure to get in on that if you are interested in trying out the new versions. Marcos Aguilar. Oh gosh, I hope I said that right. Even more tutorials for beginners, please. So you talking HitFilm Express? We are looking to do a lot more, I guess, personality-infused content, whereby we will be doing a lot of shorter form tutorials, some bite-sized pieces, which would be particularly useful for somebody who's just starting out. So hopefully that would be of use to you. Hello to everyone who's joining us just now. Javed, do you want to repeat the reason for the live stream because I've forgotten.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us now, we're going to be going over how to make better videos. So general advice for whatever type of video you want to make, travel vlogs, filmmaking, short films, anything. This is stuff that you kind of need to know or know how to do almost without thinking. We talked about the updates just now coming to HitFilm and Emerge, so rewind. It's only been 10 minutes if you missed that part. Should we move on to the tips?
Yes,
came here for
sure.
Cool. Let's see. So, if you are, again, if you're a veteran filmmaker, these might seem obvious, but they are things that you should kind of do without thinking. So my first one has to do with focus, learn how to focus. And that's not just setting it and then walking away. It means if you're using a camera with a lens, learning how the focus ring works. If your subject walks away, do you know without thinking which way to turn it, how much? And the way to get used to it is film your mom making dinner and just try to keep her in focus. And it should be sort of an automatic thing because focus is, you can't fix it in post. Once it's messed up, it's messed up. You can't do anything.
That's a very specific example.
Yes.
Filming your mom making dinner.
Yes, I speak
but
from
I like
experience.
it. If you guys can send in to not to brag, but at hitfilm.com all of the footage you have of your mom making dinner, perhaps we can make a compilation.
Yeah.
In focus, please.
Yeah, if it's not in focus, then we can't use it.
Yeah, no. Let's just answer in between each tip, we're going to answer a question. How about that?
Cool.
Sam Kerrison, what new tutorials are you bringing to the table? Well, as I said, we are re-looking at the YouTube strategy, so we're coming up with some new tutorials at the moment, but we do have some already in the pipeline, which you could give a potential tease to.
Let's see. So we've got the HitFilm version 12 overview, the Emerge V2 overview, which goes over the new features. After that, we're planning a green screen tutorial. So we don't really have a green screen tutorial that is just all about green screen. It's usually included within an effect like that we've done before. This is going to go over chroma key if you're using HitFilm Pro, and it's going to go over color difference and hue and RGB if you're using Express. So it's kind of an overall green screen, like how to. And I think it's always good to revisit those kind of effects because we have done them in the past, but it's always good to have a definite video to point towards.
For sure. LP Gozzi says, just finished working on a 4-month project. Love the software, been using it for several years and can't wait for new updates. Thank you. That's very sweet. We can't wait for new updates as well. We've been internally screaming, waiting to be able to send these out to you, so we're very excited. All right, next tip for filmmaking.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go. So along with focus is exposure. Learn to expose properly. So unlike focus, you can sort of fix the exposure in post if you mess it up. If it's too bright, you can darken it down. If it's too dark, you can brighten it. But it's much easier to just do it right in camera. So if your camera has a histogram or a waveform or anything like that, I would suggest learning how to use it because there are tutorials online. But nothing should clip into black and nothing should clip into white. Ideally, you want all that information to be contained so that you can color grade it and color correct it. Learning to expose is difficult and changes for each camera, but basically what you have to do is balance aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. And those are the three things that you can change to darken or brighten the camera's view of the video. If you are shooting outside, I would recommend looking at ND filters. That's the letter N and then D as in Delta. They're just a small lightweight cap that you put on the front of the lens, and it just kind of acts as a shade almost, and it just darkens it down. So it prevents things from becoming overexposed, which is very easy to do when you're shooting outside.
Cool. I've just spotted a really cool question, which has me thinking of very cool things. Black Death LP has said video editing in VR. Now, this is like a personal dream of mine. I would love to be able to have, you know, a software interface up in VR and be able to video edit with my hands. I think that would be the best thing ever. With regards to doing stuff in VR, at the moment the closest we get is Action Pro, which is our motion capture software. That's really cool because, say for example, you're doing a scene in which you're trying to land a 3D model into your composite, and you're finding that when you're keyframing something, it's kind of stuttering and you're not getting a very smooth landing, I guess. Something that you could use as Action Pro, which essentially enables you to just draw that movement, and then it will add in the keyframes for you. We're looking to expand that into VR in the future, hopefully. And so, yeah, the idea of bringing in other pieces of tech into VR is very exciting, and something that if we don't do, I hope somebody does. Anything else?
How will these updates translate to Express? They are all coming to Express, I believe. Yeah. Express and Pro will be updated at the same time with the same features, same threaded rendering, same interface changes, color labels, all that stuff. So it'll be the same for both.
You lucky bugs. Kirkard Productions Australia. I mainly do rock music videos and looking for better ways to fade out at the end, setting up hotkeys, etc. Any tips for fading out at the end? I mean, that's...
Video or audio? Because that, I guess that depends. But hotkeys, if you're talking about keyboard shortcuts, that's something that I use all the time. HitFilm allows you to change keyboard shortcuts, so you can really just customize it to work the fastest possible way that you can. So if you go to File Options, you can see those there if you haven't already.
In case you didn't know, and you've been following us on any platforms, talking to us on social media, if you have been talking to anyone from the HitFilm team, it's likely Gavin, who has been our front man for social media for almost 2 months now, and he's the one who's actually on questions at the moment. So if you have a question specifically for Gavin, do type it in the box and he'll get back to you. Otherwise, he's kind of feeding us the best comments that are coming through for us to answer. Any more tips for filmmaking?
A few, yeah. Do you wanna do yours? Like one of yours?
So obviously Javert is the most skilled when it comes to the HitFilm team in terms of talking about practical filmmaking and in terms of using HitFilm technically. But obviously, having been in the marketing scene for quite a while now, I have something to contribute to this conversation regarding promoting the content that you eventually make, because it doesn't matter how amazing the content is that you produce, if nobody sees it, then, well, you know, it's nice for you to have something that you've created, but if you're wanting to push it out to an audience and make a difference, then you have to know how to promote it. Personally, for me, I think the best two ways to do this, if you're an up-and-coming filmmaker, is either to be using film festivals, although this is a less common way of probably doing that nowadays, or just uploading your content to YouTube. We've been in the YouTube game now for about 3.5 years. We went to VidCon and we got so inspired that we came home and we applied everything that we learnt, which is mostly to do with, it was to do with the algorithm, which technically isn't called the YouTube algorithm anymore. It's basically, I think it's YouTube's search ... I can't remember the last word, but it's made up of approximately 800 million different algorithms all working together. And you can get a little bit lost in trying to feed the algorithm and do everything right. There's been a load of big YouTubers recently who have got a little bit, what's the word? They're not enjoying making their content as much because they feel like they're trying to make it for YouTube rather than for their audience. So there are some tips and tricks to try and do well on YouTube, including, you know, the times that you upload. We upload regularly, which helps us with reaching out to you guys because you know when we're going to pop into your notifications. In terms of the amount of time that we spend on the YouTube tutorials, how long they are, what they include. But the more research we're doing now, the more we're really finding that narrative and having a story and having a connection to your audience is actually the most important thing. So that's what we've been focusing on. No worries. We've got a couple of visitors to the office today, so just saying bye to them. Yeah, so regarding YouTube, if you're looking to promote to an audience, I would say probably my best advice is to make sure that you do a bit of research into the algorithms that exist, but try to balance that against what you feel is your original and unique style and what makes you different. Because there's a lot of people who aren't paying attention to the algorithm at all and are doing very well just because they found their niche and they're doing very well in it. I know when you're a filmmaker it's difficult to make consistent content. We found that ourselves, but there are things that you can do in between shoots, behind the scenes, showing your crew, giving tips about practical setups and things like that, that will help kind of fill those gaps. and will still be very interesting to everyone, because it's really interesting seeing anyone set up with regards to how they're shooting.
Yeah. It is also difficult to upload consistently when you're a teenager or a kid in school still. School should come first, but you know, if you feel that you get into a rhythm balancing school and YouTube, then that's great to be able to upload weekly or monthly or whatever, because it builds your portfolio while you're still in school.
Which is exactly, it's not necessarily what you did consistently, but you did, that's basically how we found Javert. Javert was doing some really cool HitFilm tutorials while he was in school, set up an entire website dedicated to being a preset marketplace for the software, and eventually he just created enough high enough content that he got into our radar. Yeah. And now he works for us. So, you know, depending on your goals, it might be a really good way of getting in front of the people you want to impress.
Yeah, I definitely didn't upload consistently. I started making tutorials in 2011, and basically the way it would go is during the summer, I would upload pretty much every week, but then as soon as school started, I would drop off and focus on that. But since I did it for so many years, eventually I have, I think, 30 or 40 videos on my channel, which isn't a lot, but it's enough that they recognize that I was using HitFilm.
So that's a little bit of insight, certainly into YouTube in terms of uploading, but we'll tackle another couple of questions now, one that I think you will enjoy answering. Trish Lester, what are the differences between the green keying, well, the chroma keying in Express and Pro? And then the second bit we've already answered.
Yeah. So what are the differences between the green keying? I've never heard that. Green screening or chroma keying in Express and Pro. So Pro has the chroma key effect, which I would recommend you use if you have it. It's just the most fully featured, most powerful effect. If you're using Express, you can use either the hue and RGB key effect or the color difference key. The difference is just in the amount of control you have over the key. So Express, being free, has a little bit less. And then the second part of your question, will the add-on for Express be the same as Pro? Yes, it's the chroma key effect, which is the same.
Jasper Plays says, Javert has the best tutorials and always handy.
Excellent, thank you.
He is. He's always on hand. Ooh, there's a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many compliments, I don't think I can read them all out. Hold on. Worlds of Confusion. The fact that you provide us with an amazing program for free is astounding and wonderful. I can't thank you enough. That's fantastic. I'm really glad that HitFilm Express helps you to create something. As you all know, we're really, really passionate about making our software as accessible as possible to people. There's an awful lot of stuff in HitFilm Express which is incredibly powerful, and it is available for free. So if you haven't downloaded it and tried it, do have a go. If you want to go to the next level, though, in case you weren't here before, we do have a January sale on at the moment, and we've got some really cool stuff coming into HitFilm Pro in the next couple of weeks, maybe before the January sale ends, who knows. Do you have any more technical things regarding?
Yeah, so let's see. Learn to balance, this is going back to the tips if you weren't here. Learn to balance audio. So I notice with a lot of younger filmmakers or video makers that they'll have this 20-second intro that is dubstep, bass boosting, just loud, loud, loud.
I love those intros though, by the way.
And it'll cut to them on their webcam or camera or whatever, and they are very quiet. So learning to balance audio, when that meter that you see in your software, whatever it is, bouncing from red to yellow to green or other way around, that should ideally stay between 0 dB, which is at the top, and -12, -16 if you're talking. So if your intro is coming in and hitting red at 0, you should take it down. And if your voice is coming in at -24, -30, you should bring it up until just under 0. This prevents people from having to constantly raise and lower the volume, which is just some more work for them. So just take that away from them and just balance it out in the software.
Cool. I've just realised how pale I look on this camera. My God, I'm like a ghost. Animagus asks, how do you choose music for your scenes? Any stock sites, or do you make the sounds yourselves? That really depends on what we're making. So we've done a bunch of, we call them onboardings, but they get called various things by various people, whereby we do professional short films. That's like Portal Combat with Film Riot, Rebellion, Assemble. all of the good stuff. When we do something like that, which we're really investing our time and effort into, occasionally we will use somebody who is experienced in creating music specifically for that reason. We know some really, really talented, I guess not sound designers. Composers, yeah. We know some really talented composers, so we do like to work with them wherever possible. But often it's not possible to do that, and so we are big believers in using stock. There's an awful lot of it out there, some really good free stock websites, which you'll probably know better than me, Javert.
Yeah, so if you're talking music, I've recently, first thing I try is the YouTube audio library, which has free stuff. It's not the most cinematic or professional, but sometimes you can find a quick sting on there if you're looking. Otherwise, I've been recently using Audio Jungle a lot, which is paid, but
Hashtag no spawn.
Yeah, that. But the results are really good. So like I used Audio Jungle for the Harry Potter short that we did a couple weeks ago, a month or two ago.
2019, it's going so fast.
If you're looking for sound effects, I usually use freesound.org. It's free. And it's just mostly communities submitted stuff. So if you need someone walking, you can search for it and somebody will usually have it. So freesound.org and audiojungle.com.
YouTube also have a really good YouTube library, which I've used in the past, which has been really good, but I support what you said. Audio Jungle is also very good. Mr. Pinocchio, can you make a more advanced particle simulator tutorial?
We have several particle simulator tutorials. I guess it depends on what you define as advanced. If you want us to go into like what the parameters actually do, we could do that. Or if you're looking for like a specific effect that the particle simulator can do, yeah, we have several. But we're always open to suggestions.
We usually do quite long form tutorials where we'll pick like a super cool effect and then we'll create it from scratch. But we're more leaning towards at the moment doing some more bite-sizable type tutorials whereby we do address just, for example, the particle simulator and talk about it conceptually and how it works and how you could apply it to scenes that maybe we haven't created but you could. So do let us know in the comments if that is something that you're interested in us doing. Gavin is like hurriedly trying to type in some quotes for us. Oh, what's Don Don saying? I can only see the first part of it.
Gavin, could I get you to scroll this page here? Because we have the comments on the TV, but I've actually made it so
can you
that the
notice?
comments are blocking, are blocking the live things coming in.
Oh no, we've lost Don Don Don. Oh no, he's still there.
Clever Tagline has answered him. He's always
on
it.
Brilliant.
He's on it.
Hi, Clever Tagline. Thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to see some familiar faces in the audience. Uti Kunave uses epicsound.org. Oh, interesting. I don't think I've ever used them before. Go check them out. Yeah. So should we go into the next? Do you have anything else to share regarding filmmaking?
Two quick things. Yeah, so white balance is one thing that it seems obvious, but white balancing your shots, if you are whether you're inside or outside, wherever, you should white balance before you hit record. It is one of the things that can be fixed in post, but it just makes it a lot easier if you just because it literally takes like 10 seconds, especially if you know the settings on your specific camera. Have a piece of paper in your camera bag, a white piece of white paper that you can just stick in front of it, white balance, and then forget about it.
It is so easy to forget as well. If you're going on a shoot, do try to remember the white balance, because if you get there and you don't have anything to balance against, or even worse, you get back to the office in our case and you realise you haven't white balanced it at all, it can be a bit of a nightmare. So it's a little thing to remember, but it makes so much difference.
Yeah. If you're shooting outside for a few hours, white balance at the beginning, a couple hours later, do it again, because the sun moves, the sun changes, the temperature changes. So that's one of the things that I think could really benefit, is having natural looking colors in your video. Makes it look a lot better.
Did anyone see any of the images that we were putting up on Instagram about the super secret, not so secret shoot that we were doing a couple of weeks ago? We're hoping to be making some content out of this very soon, but it had some really awesome
I can't even help you out.
Scenes it had some really, basically what we did was we went to a, I don't even know what to call it.
Firefighter training station? A
firefighter training station, close to where we're based in Norwich in the UK. And they've got some amazing stuff there. They had a burnt out building which they basically set on fire and then send people into, and helicopter helipad and things like that. And the wonderful thing about them is that P-Tans, we'll give them a shout out. Thank you very much, P-Tans. They have worked with us in the past, and they are so generous with their time in giving us some the ability to shoot there for a really long time, basically. So we had an amazing environment to shoot in, and we've got some really cool ideas for what to do with that footage. Don's question has come up. So how can I ultimately become better at making visual effects, which I think is definitely a question for you.
I would say one of my #1 tips is to know what the software can do. Because if you come up against a problem and you don't know that the software can solve it, you're going to spend hours trying to figure out how it works. So one thing that I would literally do when I was learning HitFilm was go into the effects panel and go into every effect, every single one. And I would ask myself, do I know what this does? Do I know what it can do? And if I didn't, I looked it up in the manual. So that way, even if I never use the effect, I build up a catalog in my head kind of the effects and what HitFilm has and what it can do. So just knowing that a solution exists, you may not come up against the problem for another couple of years, but knowing what it has and what it can do, the capabilities of the software is a good start.
Daniel has asked a really good question as like an extension of the current theme of this live stream, which is it would be great to have challenges from time to time. We're asking you to make short videos about something and then send them in, but we would love to do something that's, say, akin to Film Riot's Monday challenges. We think that that's an incredible community thing to be able to do. Up until this point, we've really had a very small team with regards to being able to put a lot of resource into, say, the marketing aspect of it, although we have always prioritized community over everything else. Now that we're getting a little bit bigger, we're bringing in a few new people. I'm really hoping that challenges and competitions and just generally giving you guys the ability to shine and really impress us, I'm hoping to bring that in 2019. So I'm going to take over Josh's thing of saying things and hoping they come true.
Just completely blabbing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's something which I'm really keen for us to do, and I know that everyone in the team, we love seeing your stuff. With the staff breakfast that we were talking about before, we also have a marketing lunch on the other month, whereby we all pull together all of the user videos that we see online that we really love, and we play them to the whole team. It's like 18+ people who get to see the best stuff. So we love showing you off. So keep sending in cool stuff.
The email for that is nottobrag@fxhome.com. Or you can just send it to us on Twitter or Facebook, and Gavin will pick it up. Yep. But if you need an email, that's what it is.
Or kirsty.tosterman@fxhome.com. because it's on the website anyway, so I might as well give it to you. So Yamakani Katunga. Hey guys, a lot of the HitFilm tutorials and effects seem to major on visual effects. I'm growing in motion graphics, and it would be great if we could have more text manipulation, effects, and animation. Hell yeah.
In a week.
Give us a moment.
You'll see over 30 animation effects for text. But we could
38, I think, in total.
38.
Yeah. But
we could always do more motion graphics tutorials, so that is something we can consider and add into the schedule. Now that we're doing shorter videos, maybe just how to make a quick lower third, or how to make text move smoothly, or something like that. But text animations will be coming this month.
Dafter Things has said, is there a workflow you recommend to help avoid or reduce lag in HitFilm, which I think feeds in well to what we were saying before about the new update. Dafter Things, in case you weren't here at the start of the live stream, we are bringing out a new update to HitFilm very soon, which has a whole bunch of speed performance improvements in it, which should reduce that lag. It's got threaded rendering, it's got animation cache, and what was the other one?
Hardware decoding for NVIDIA and Intel GPUs.
which essentially means that when you're doing any of those tasks, you will be a hell of a lot faster. So, from another point of view, with regards to, I keep forgetting what it is and it's not written. What was it again?
How to make better videos. It's there.
Ah, got it. Sorry, everyone. Unprepared. Yeah, so how to make better videos. When it comes to the story, as we were talking before, depending, of course, on the kind of videos that you make, and I'd really be interested to see if you wanted to leave us a comment on the kind of content that you produce, because we always love to find out what everyone's working on, is to ensure that you have a story which people can be excited about and which people can be invested in. The reason that we use Ollie quite a lot, he's a member of the marketing team. You guys really seem to like Ollie getting himself into situations. And so although we do use other actors from time to time, Ollie is always really pleased to be involved in our short films, and hopefully will be from here going forward. Yeah, the story element, do you want to talk about how you kind of, for example, the super secret shoot that we did, how you went about storyboarding that?
Yeah, so that was kind of actually my next tip, is plan ahead.
Feeding in.
So plan ahead. Spontaneous video creation can be cool if you're in a good location or going to an event or whatever. But if you're trying to make something that people enjoy in a small amount of time, you should have a plan. And whether you do this with a script, whether with a storyboard, or with even just writing down bullet points of what's going on in the story. For me, it's storyboarding. I find that that's the most useful way for me to plan out the shots that I want to get, plan out the story, plan out what's happening. So with the shoot that we went on a few weeks ago, I did just that. I made a storyboard, and I would draw stick figures of Ollie and the shots, and whether it was a close-up or a wide shot. I would write notes like, remember to do this, remember to put this light in this shot. But I would consult that storyboard on the shoot. Like, I had it in my pocket. I would pull it out and make sure, okay, did we get this and did we get this one? We're done with that. And it really helps you focus in on getting it done in the shortest amount of time. But it also helps you not forget anything. Because if you film your whole short film and then realize you forgot to film the middle part, then you can't really do anything. So the storyboard helps you plan things out, get it done in a concise amount of time, and just visualize it before you actually go to work.
Stein Carlson has asked a really cool question, which I do just want to address, saying video editing is moving more and more towards mobility, so editing videos while on the move gets more popular and important. Being able to edit videos on a tablet or phone is getting more vital. Will HitFilm make software for iOS devices and Android devices in the future? So we're aware of this trend. We do know that a number of people are looking for really good editing software on their phones. It's a possibility for the future. I can't say whether or not we would get involved with that particular target market. At the moment, we're very much focused on making HitFilm as good as it can be. And the main issue with trying to develop software for tablets and phones is that you do have the limitation of that device. And so we would have to work out a way for that particular piece of software to be valuable to you on those particular devices, which at the moment is quite difficult because you have tiny little buttons and there is limitations on what you can do. But we are aware of it, and if it ever comes to a point whereby we think that we could make something that was awesome, we definitely would.
Do you have tips to talk to the camera? That's from Video Dude.
Video Dude.
Video Dude.
Nice.
Do you have tips
nice
to talk
name.
to the camera?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We do.
I would say my first one is to smile. When you smile, you immediately sound a bit better, you look better, you look more approachable. I find talking to the camera not as nerve-wracking as like live speaking to like a crowd or something like that. Also remember to breathe. Because when you get nervous, you take shallow breaths and you kind of forget. So just take a deep breath and smile, and then have at it. The camera doesn't judge you, so you can mess up as many times as you want. But it is a process of filming yourself, looking back at the footage, seeing what you don't like. Do you talk too fast? Do you move around too much? But it's relax, smile, get it done.
there's a huge difference between talking to a camera for a editable YouTube video and doing, say, a live stream, which is what we're doing now.
That's another thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I find it much easier to talk to the camera when I know that we're going to be able to go into it in post and edit out all the bits that I mess up. Funnily enough, we have a huge folder of bloopers of when we've messed things up, which I would be interested to know if you'd like to see, because I love seeing the bloopers of YouTubers. I find them hilarious, and ours are ridiculous. But when it comes to being on a live stream, I would just echo what Javert said. Just try to imagine that there's somebody behind the camera who you like, who you're talking to, because although it's really awesome talking to the whole community, obviously we are just looking at a lens, which does feel a bit weird. But it is about smiling, about breathing, and about just feeling confident in what you have to offer.
Finding your style. I think, you know, some people are really good at spontaneous speaking and not knowing what they're saying next. They just talk and it sounds natural. Yeah. Some other people, like myself, do better when they have a script and they know what they're going to say. So decide for yourself which of those you enjoy or feel better doing, and then work on that.
It's funny, when we focus on, now you've made us self-conscious with how we're talking to the camera. Both of us are like using our hands a lot more.
Yeah.
That's something I've been told by friends in the past. They've watched the YouTube videos and they've gone, you use your hands a lot when you're talking to emphasize things. I can't help it.
It's because I don't want to be like this the whole time. It's
exactly.
Like, gotta chill out for a second.
Oh, people are wanting to see bloopers. Okay. Right, well, maybe, you know, if you're good, maybe we'll give you some. Who knows? Markers, are those the same as the color labels?
Markers. No, markers are different from color labels. Markers are useful for if you're editing a music video, you put a marker on the beat so that you can see when it's happening. We know that's a highly requested effect or feature, but that won't be in the update just yet.
Just to give you an insight into kind of how our development team work with regards to the feedback that you give us, because I think it's really important that you know every piece of feedback that you give us is taken and given to the development team and is taken into account. The way that we basically sort it is by working out how much time the suggestion would take to implement, and then working out how important we think it is, how many times it's been requested by people, how much of a game changer it would be in terms of the software, and then we balance those out and we give them a number in terms of importance, and that's basically the list which the development team work from on every update. So rest assured, just because, I mean, I'm sure there are some people who've requested things for maybe 3 or 4 years which are important to them with regards to their workflow, but maybe nobody else has requested them. Maybe it's something that would take a lot of intense time for our development team to make, but actually wouldn't have so much of an impact on the general way that the software works. If that is the case, then I'm really sorry, but I can assure you that we put a lot of time and effort into working out what it is that you guys want and trying to be as efficient as possible in putting as many things into the software as we can so that you have as many updates as we can. Gerald McGiven says, you're not just talking... Gavin, can you move the... I can't quite see the...
I'm not sure Gavin can hear us. He might be plugged in.
Oh, no. Oh, no, we're alone.
Josh, save us.
So, what do you guys think about the possibility of making a feature film entirely with HitFilm? Oh, that's interesting. I think it's absolutely possible. It depends, of course, on what... Oh, no, we're getting a running Josh. Oh, my God.
I'm right here.
Oh, you were so much closer than I thought you were going to be. It's on a 20-second delay, so we're not going to see you pop up for ages.
Why is it on a 20-second delay?
It always is.
All right.
So we
Gerald
just kind of sit
McGibbon
here.
says, you're not just talking to a lens. We are actually here, or are we? If only we could have like an editable... There it is. An editable
who's that guy?
frame over the top. Star Kid says, hey guys, big hello. Hi. So in case anyone didn't know, which I'm sure you didn't, this is Josh. He's the CEO of the company. Was in a meeting up until this point. Didn't realise he was coming in to join us. But would you like a seat?
No. I'm not going to stay longer than I am welcome. I'm going to leave right now, but I thought I'd just say hi.
Stick around.
It's your company. So.
No, it looked exciting and fun until I got here.
No.
And then I ruined it.
The chair's right there.
No, I'm going.
Can you, before you go, can you make it so that the comments aren't covered by the show flow. Like just scroll it over.
Thank you.
But only because you are so nice.
Thank you.
So, yeah, going back to Bailey Films, what do you guys think about the possibility of making a feature film entirely with HitFilm? I think it's possible. It depends entirely on what you want to do with it. If it's one that has a number of visual effects in it, then you may want to utilize other pieces of software alongside HitFilm. If you're focused on just something that's shot within camera but has a bit of color grading, that's something which HitFilm can do. It really depends on what it is that you want to make your film about.
I've never made long things in HitFilm. Like the Harry Potter thing was 30 seconds. I think in terms of a narrative, making something that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours would be unheard of for me. But it would be interesting to try.
Interesting. Maybe we could try it. Near Offer says, good, now you are 3. Hi, Josh. You've gone. See? You got everyone excited and then you left. Mr. Promax says, you're always welcome. And Mikhail Davidson says, can you say my name?
I'm glad you took that one because I didn't know.
I think that's how you said it. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Are any movies or TV being edited with HitFilm at the moment? Not that we are aware of. I think that we suffer a little bit in that people do things in HitFilm and then they forget to tell us about it, which is a shame. We do know of things that have been done using HitFilm in the past. For example, muzzle flashes in The Hangover 3. Salt has some effects that were done with HitFilm, but we don't often hear about them. So it's often
they don't broadcast what they use. The companies that work on films and stuff, they don't say, hey, we use this to make this, unless they make like a breakdown.
Or they're affiliated with a particular piece of software. If that's the case, then usually there will be a whole marketing campaign around it. If you guys know of anything that has been created using HitFilm, then do let us know. We're always interested to know.
Is there a reason that you are no longer prompted for the dimensions of a text box when in a composite shot? That is because we changed it to a point-based text layer instead of a box. You can change it back by right-clicking the text layer and selecting whatever it is. It's either point or something else. But when you create a new text layer, it'll appear in the viewer and you can just type. Whichever one works for you, the point or the box, they both have benefits. But that's why.
StarKids TV says, hey guys, big hello. Do you have any plans to further expand working with 3D models and objects? In case you missed the start, we do have an update coming out for HitFilm very soon, which does have 3D animation caching in it, which, I mean, when you talk about further expanding working with 3D models, you probably mean something different to that. But with regards to the caching, it will at least make that experience a lot faster for you. Do we have anything to talk about with regards to filmmaking? Or we've kind of run out of points, so do you guys have any interesting questions about, pick Chavert's brain, he's here for you, about filmmaking?
See, there's that 20-second delay. You ask a question and you just gotta like...
Let's wait for a minute. Near Offer, what's your favourite thing about HitFilm? Oh, I think you've been asked this before and you just didn't know what to say.
No, I didn't. It's always been either the particle simulator or no, I think it has been. Yeah, it's the particle simulator. But now at this point, I think it's just the fact that I have used it for so long. It just feels like I don't even have to think when I'm using it. I just know the effects and the layers and how everything works together. But yeah, the particle simulator I think was my favorite effect because of how extensive it is and how much you can customize it to get the result that you want.
I think mine is the 3D space. The 3D space aspect of HitFilm. We did some workshops locally for students whereby we were teaching them how to get into visual effects when we were using HitFilm, and without fail, every time they would be playing around with the editor and they'd be happy with that. But as soon as you switched to the composite shot and you stuck a camera in there and it switched to a 3D view, they lost their minds. There's something about seeing your 2D space become 3D and you see that sliver of your shot in a 3D space, and it's just awesome. And every time I do it, I go, oh. Still, after 6.5 years, it's kind of amazing.
What is that creature on the desk? That's Alan.
Have you named him? I didn't realize.
Yeah, we named him when we got him. It's a Godzilla Funko, I think. I don't remember what the brand is, but it's Godzilla, whose name is Alan.
Whose name is Alan. Kermit has gone?
He was over by the window last time I checked.
He's over there. It's all right. He's still here with us. I did see somebody ask. Bubblegum said, kind of late to the game, but do you plan on updating HitFilm Express? So you must have missed it before, but when we talk about the updates that are going into HitFilm Pro, those will also be going into HitFilm Express. So keep an eye out. Happening within the next week or so, you will get a newsletter if you're subscribed, or our website will update itself. And believe us, we'll be talking about it on social, so you'll see it one way or another.
Do you have any tips for shooting a video or short film by yourself? This was actually one of the
that's a good question.
Videos that I was going to make on my channel before I came here, but then I came here, so
sorry.
Didn't have so I actually still have all the bullet points, I think. But it's not easy to shoot things by yourself, because especially if you have to be in front of the camera, then that one's like 10 feet away. I can't change the settings. I can't do anything. I have to hit record, check it, and then make changes, and it's a pain. But I think one of the things that helped me a lot was finding out that my camera had a remote control. So I had a T3i, and I found that I could install software on my Mac, which was from Canon. It was legitimate, that would allow me to control the camera from my laptop. So I could have my laptop here, and I could change the exposure and the focus, and I could autofocus, which was the big thing, to shoot remotely. So that helped a lot when it came to making sure the video was in focus, which was the first tip. So
John D has said, any formal courses coming, like the old version 3 on lynda.com or Udemy? Almost said Udemy, that's not a thing. So yeah, I do have super secret information, which isn't so super secret, but Simon Jones was the one who did our previous courses on futurelearn.com. At the moment it was called Guerrilla VFX for filmmakers, I think. At the time, it was really popular. It ran twice. I don't think that you can take it now because it has to run at a certain time. But I do know that Simon Jones is in talks at the moment with doing another course with them, which is hopefully going to be focused on HitFilm Pro rather than HitFilm Express. So for those of you who are looking for a formal course that's of a bit more of a professional level, then we're really hoping that something like that's going to be coming out soon. If not, then we will do our best to produce that ourselves. Mr. Promax, you've asked a lot. I'm sorry we haven't been able to get to you. Can you make a suit-up tutorial, Black Panther or Iron Man? This is something which we discussed ourselves, actually, for a while about doing.
Did you?
The suit-up tutorial, yeah. And we ended up then trying to do the invisible car, and then that also didn't work. It's a very difficult effect.
In terms of the suit-up, yeah,
it's almost...
thousands, hundreds of parts moving, so... No.
Unfortunately, no. That's something that we just don't have the resource to do that. Yeah. But you might, if you look on our film forums, you might find somebody who's already done it. Who knows? Any other filmmaking questions?
What is your process for finding ways to create effects you don't yet know how to create?
Oh,
so yeah, this is a big problem.
Good question.
It still is when it comes to any visual effects shot. When I approach it, it's kind of building on what I already know and then tweaking that to match. I wish I had an example at hand. So like the Doctor Who energy that I did with Ollie a few months ago, I knew that it had to look sort of like energy and sort of light and like cracking and lens flares and all that. I knew fractal noise existed, and that is a really good way to generate those sort of textures. So I loaded up the fractal noise effect, and I just kind of played with it until I got it to an area where it could look like the thing from the Doctor Who commercial. But mostly it's referring to, when it comes to figuring out an effect, it's taking a look at what you know already and trying to either change it or adapt it or build on it if you can. Always try a search, in YouTube and Google if someone's might have already done it. But if not, then sometimes it can take a bit of creativity to tweak an effect, or maybe even combine a few effects to get a different result. A lot of it is experimentation. Sometimes I'll be tweaking the settings and it'll freak out and I'll be like, oh, wait, that actually looks all right. So I'll keep it in mind for later if I ever need to use it.
Mm-hmm. Somebody actually mentioned that Production Crate literally last week did a suit-up effect for Iron Man. So I'm going to check that out, and I suggest you do as well. Any
way for an editor tab to have its own quick key? Not right now. I did submit a developer request a few weeks ago, actually, that was using the ability to have the tabs, the editor and the composite shots, react to keyboard shortcuts. So kind of like when you're in an internet browser and you press Command or Control W to close the tab, I suggested that for HitFilm. So not right now, but it's a good idea to be able to close them all at once or just go back to one or the other.
So we're probably going to give this live stream another 10 minutes or so get your questions in. When it's oh my goodness, it's the end of the day. It's Lenny. When did you start getting excited about filmmaking? Javert will answer after me with a much better answer, I'm sure. But for me, it wasn't until I started working here, because I had an English literature degree. I was told that anything that wasn't books was Satan, and that I was never really interested in films in a huge way, although I did love, you know, psychological thrillers, ones with good narrative, but it was only after I started working here that I realised just how insane some of them are, specifically with the visual effects. I never really thought about visual effects before I started working here, but now when I watch a film, it's all I can think about. Getting excited about filmmaking is a wonderful part of this job because, you know, everybody who we work with is excited about filmmaking. All of the users are so passionate about making things that they think is going to look cool or is going to make a difference or is going to bring more people into the kind of creative space. And so you kind of end up soaking up all of that passion and getting excited about filmmaking by default. That's my answer.
I'm not going to beat that, but I'll try. So I would say I first got interested in visual effects more than filmmaking with Transformers, the 2007 movie. I think that was the first time I looked at a movie and was like, how did they put that on the screen? And then I think later, a couple years later, 2012 came out, which I told you guys earlier, which is just CG destruction to an absolute maximum level. But I think the most exciting thing about filmmaking or visual effects for me is being able to change whatever you want in the composite. And this happens with every project. You build it and you do this and you do a couple steps and then you look at it and you say, I don't like the way that looks, and you can change it. And just that simple fact, I think, with every project, it gives me a control of the creativity. And I think that's probably my favorite part about it.
That's a very good answer. Dan V, that's a really interesting question. How would one go about making a short film without actors that is interesting?
I would say if you don't have actors, then you're counting on the emotion and the music.
Absolutely, yeah. Music is a huge part.
Yeah, so the story, whatever it is, should evoke emotion, but then the music should. I think music is what the main tool that you have to use if you don't have anyone talking and explaining the story. Music can be underestimated with young filmmakers. They don't think it's that important, but if you look at Harry Potter or Jurassic Park or Star Wars, people remember the music almost more than anything. Amadiography
has just asked, is HitFilm Pro available as a 30-day trial? Just so you know, we do have a demo for HitFilm Pro, and it's unrestricted in terms of, so this is another thing that's changing slightly, is that it used to be that you could only export 30 seconds for the demo. But now it's changing so that you can export however much as you want, but you do have a watermark over the top of it. So when you talk about a 30-day free trial, you can essentially use HitFilm for as long as you want. In terms of, we want to give you the ability to try all of the effects within the software without restrictions. But it's just as soon as you go to export, then you have that limitation. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a demo, and we'd just be giving the software away for free.
That is actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but that is actually the first, not the only, but the first reason that I stuck with HitFilm instead of After Effects. So I was 13, 14 years old, and I had both the After Effects demos and the HitFilm demo because I didn't have money. And the After Effects demo times out after 30 days, so you can't use it at all. You can't use the features. You can't learn how to use it. HitFilm didn't and doesn't. So that's the first reason that I stuck with it.
Oh, well, that's it. I didn't know that.
No,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Paul Starr, is there a way to make objects drop and bounce? I'm thinking real life physics.
I totally missed the question because I was reading the one with my name in it. So I'm sorry.
There's one with your name in it?
Yeah.
I noticed that Javert has upped his wardrobe. Where does he get his tops from? Oh, that's a much better question. We'll come back to you, Paul Starr. Okay. Where do you get your tops from?
Most recently...
Sorry.
asos.com, asos.com. I've just found them. I can also go to Next or Debenhams. Yeah, the fashion is a recent discovery, I guess. I don't know.
When he came over to England, he had to kind of reduce his wardrobe a little bit in order to get it all over and then start buying new stuff. So we like to think we've classed him up a bit. No, I'm joking. It's still an American style. So, Paul Starr, is there a way to make objects drop and bounce? I was thinking real-life physics for particle simulator, but I'm assuming that that's not the case for 3D models.
Objects. Yeah, I guess it depends if you mean 3D models or like a motion graphic. We do have behaviors, so like there is gravity, but they don't react to other objects, so like you wouldn't be able to put a floor plane in and have it bounce. Yeah, so we could definitely add to that. If you're talking about the particles, the particle simulator has built-in forces and deflectors that can make things bounce. So in a way, you could have one particle that is the texture of a 3D model and have that bounce. So I guess it just depends what exactly you're trying to achieve.
Kind of links into Dave's question. Any chance the particles will be able to respond to each other or interact more?
I have seen that in the devs' stories, but I don't know enough about it to comment.
Like I said before, if you haven't been here for the whole time, we do take everybody's feedback and suggestions for new features very seriously. What we do is we balance them against how long they're going to take for our development team to produce versus how important they are for the wider HitFilm community, and then we come up with a number based on that. So if it's in the change log, if it's in the log for the development team, then you can be assured that they have seen it and they are giving it attention.
We are over an hour.
Oh, okay. Let's give it 5 more minutes, and then we'll have to say goodbye because we don't want to spoil you with too much content. That would just be mean. But we are hoping on doing these live Q&As more often. We were doing them once a month for a while, but then things got really, really busy here, so we weren't able to do them as much. We're getting back into our groove, and we're going to be doing a lot more. So let us know if you have any themes of live streams that you would like to see. Right, so let's do 2 more questions. What's your pick?
Let's see. Is there any hope of making an Emerge Express? Maybe. I can't say anything about that, though. No, well...
No, you can't say anything about that, Javert. Shh.
No, we take suggestions. We have Emerge Pro. You know, it is what it is.
We've gotten to a point now where, you know, we used to have just HitFilm Pro and HitFilm Express. We now have Emerge, we have Ignite, we have Action Pro. We have an awful lot of products that our very talented development team are working on. And so if we did produce a new piece of software, then there would have to be a really good reason to do so. But if we do decide on making an Emerge Express, you guys will be the first to know. Viet Blue Art says, I just wanted to thank you guys for all these comprehensive tutorials. Super new to the program. Welcome. Join the family. But it's quickly becoming my favourite. Good. I'm really glad that you're finding them useful. I'm really hoping that we can improve on that going forward even more. One more question. Oh, goodness, the pressure. Right, whoever can send us a question next. Next question. That's not a question, that's an at someone else, so we'll wait for it. One more question.
We're not going to get a question for the next
We're not going to get a question. You guys are deliberately holding out on us. This is what it is. We're being played. Goodness. Okay, I guess we'll just go then. Okay. iDatus, thank you very much for your question. When is the interface getting some work to make it more efficient?
Next week. Yeah.
Oh, now all the questions are flooding in.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like YouTube is playing us, actually, not you guys. Yeah, so in case you weren't here at the start of the live stream, we do have some incredible updates coming to all of our Pro software. That's HitFilm Pro, Emerge Pro, Ignite Pro, and Action Pro. The updates are so big that we're really counting them as new versions. They're completely new pieces of software from our opinion. And they include things like interface updates, performance updates, new features, new animation tools. Action Pro is getting a whole new look to bring it in line with everything else. There is a whole lot going on, and we have our January sale going on at the moment to make all of these prices more accessible for you as well. So do keep an eye out on our website, on our social, on our newsletters if you're subscribed, because we're really excited to show you and find out what you think.
Cool.
So yeah, we're going to leave you now. Thank you very much. We may be trying out some different times for these live streams going forward to make them more accessible to you guys. Might make it inaccessible for us as British people, but who knows. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy your day.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.